Hello and welcome to Engineering Principles 1. My name is Neal Ninteman and I'm super excited to be your professor for this course. I know we're supposed to say that as professors, but I really mean it for this course. It's very sincere. I started teaching this course first probably about 18 years ago when many of you were just born. It's the first time I taught the course, and it's become a love of mine. I think I'll be teaching it until I can't teach anymore, until they carry me out. That's how much I love this course, so I'm excited about it. Many years ago, I was a freshman engineering student at Cal Poly, and I also had an Introduction to Engineering course. And that experience that I had in that class really is the foundation and set the direction for this course that we're going to have, but not probably in the way that you might expect. Let me explain. I don't remember much of anything from that class. I can't tell you what days we met on. I can't tell you how often we met in the week. I'm not really sure where the class was. I couldn't find that room again. And I can promise you, I can't tell you one thing that I learned from that class. I just have this vague memory, though, of an old gray-haired or maybe white-haired professor like me coming in every class period and taking an old reel of film, putting it on an old projector, and hitting play, turn the lights down, and he would let that thing run. And for the next, 30, 40 minutes, whatever the class was, we watched a film about what engineering was. The films were describing what engineers do to us. That's all I remember. I do actually have one concrete memory from that whole semester. And it's kind of funny. I fell asleep in class one day. I was real tired. It was in the morning, and I put my head down on the desk, and I was out. That's how exciting the content was. And all of a sudden, I heard like a gunshot or something. And what had happened is that professor had slammed his hand on the table, either my desk or nearby, because several of us had fallen asleep, and woke us up. And I remember him saying something to us, reprimanding us. And that's it. That's my takeaway from my Introduction to Engineering class. So why is that the foundation for this class? This course has been carefully designed. Every activity, every lecture, every assignment to be the antithesis of that experience that I had in my freshman engineering class. In my class, a lot of information was shared with us about what engineering was. At least I think it was shared. I don't remember, so I don't know. But that's my assumption, is that there was a lot of communication about what engineers do. The problem is I don't have any recollection of any of it, and I didn't take anything away from it. So in this class, instead of me or someone else communicating what engineering is to you, we're going to do the exact opposite, which is just to jump in, to dive in, and actually start doing engineering together. We're not going to talk about what engineering is. I'm not going to explain what engineering is. You, with my help, are just going to jump in and start doing engineering, ready or not. Think of it this way. Imagine that you were creating a class to talk about swimming, to teach swimming. There's all kinds of ways you could approach that. You could spend time describing what swimming is, how the arm comes up and what angle it's at and what force you have to push with to propel yourself through the water, all the dynamics, if you will, of swimming. You could explain that to someone and try to give them a picture of what swimming is. Or you could take it one step further, and maybe you could even have the class do some swimming-like motion. Of course, out of the water, because you got to stay safe. So on the land, practice swimming motion. Or maybe you take it even a step further. and you have the students get in the pool somewhere shallow where it's safe and hang on to the edge and have them get the feel for a little bit of swimming, but not the real thing. But at the far end of the teaching spectrum, there's actually another way to teach swimming. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? You could just throw them in the deep end and let them try to figure out what swimming is. That last one, that's the philosophy behind this class. Now, you might be thinking, but I don't know how to do engineering. I don't really even know what it is. That's okay. That's actually the whole point. Because when you throw someone in the deep end, they don't know what swimming is either, and they don't know how to swim. But you know what happens? They start to figure it out. I don't expect you to know how to do engineering well at the beginning. I don't even expect you to understand what engineering is. But that doesn't stop us from getting started in actually doing engineering. Just like with a person learning swimming, I expect there'll be a good bit of thrashing and splashing. You might even go under a little bit at times. But you'll figure it out. And in the process of figuring it out, what engineering is, a few really cool things will happen. Number one, you will figure it out. You will get it. You will get the feel of engineering, just like someone gets the feel of swimming. You begin to feel the water underneath. You begin to feel, oh, when I move my hand like this happens. Likewise in engineering, you'll start to learn. Much of that learning will come through failure, and it'll feel inefficient at times, but you'll be learning all the time. The other thing that will happen, and this is really cool, is that you'll figure out if you like engineering or not as a result of doing it. You'll start to understand if you're good at it, or maybe you're not so good at it. You'll start to understand if you really like it, or maybe if you don't like it so much. And that is one of the purposes of this course. In fact, your freshman year and all of your life, it's really figuring out what you want to do. And so this course is designed to help you understand that in regards to engineering. You know, it's pretty common in most introduction to engineering classes to have a textbook that talks about what engineering is, that tries to describe what engineering is. I don't have a textbook in this class. We're not going to have a textbook because we're doing the opposite of what those classes are. We're not going to talk about it. We're just going to do it. We're going to dive right in and do engineering. Okay, so what does it actually mean to do engineering? What does it involve? What will we be doing? That's really a good question. You know, if you went out and found 100 engineers at random on the street and asked them, hey, what'd you guys do this week? And they recounted the activities they were involved in, you would hear an incredibly broad spectrum of activities. They'd be talking about designing skyscrapers or bridges or roads, or they might be talking about microprocessors or computers or electrical systems or engines or mechanical systems or something medical about the body, medicine. What is it that connects all these? Is there any connecting theme through that broad spectrum? Well, I think there is. And what it is the concept of design. The definition of design is to conceive in the mind, to invent, to create or execute in an artistic or highly skilled manner. There's a whole lot of activities that are involved in the design process. The common theme across the broad spectrum of work that engineers do is design. Most of what engineers do on a weekly basis is centered around design. It may involve machining or working with electrical equipment, spreadsheets, prototyping and testing equipment, but it's all centered around the idea of design. So in this course, we're going to do those things. When I say that we're going to be doing engineering, What I mean is that literally from the very first class, you are going to be doing those things that engineers do on a daily or weekly basis as part of designing or creating something. And here's the best part. Just like real engineers, we're going to do those things in the context of a real engineering design project in this class. This is a little engine. It's called a wobbler or a valveless oscillating steam engine. You don't need to know that for now. You just need to know that it's a cool little thing that you're going to design and build. I'm not going to give you some empty academic exercises to occupy your time over the next 12, 15 weeks. Instead, you're going to be doing things that you need to do in order to get this engine of yours actually built and running. I'll talk more about the engine project in another video. For now, I just want you to know that you're going to be doing engineering, and you're going to be doing engineering centered around a really cool project. Now, a few things about the class. Number one, it's going to be fun and engaging. I've worked really hard to make it that kind of experience, and I think you'll find that to be true. You'll also find it to be true that it's going to be hard, because designing things and doing the work of engineering is hard. Hey, learning how to swim is probably hard too. You may not remember, but it's hard. As I said, there's a lot of thrashing and splashing and even some fear that comes along with it. But in the end, the difficulty is worth it, because through that difficulty, you gain confidence and you have this experience that makes you feel like you're living, that you're alive, that you've done something really cool. And that's my goal in the class. So if you're ready, let's get started. The first lecture is right down below in week 1. Let's dive in the pool and let's have fun together. I'll see you in next class.